For reasons regarding privacy, I will not be providing my name or any of my contacts. There is no need to compromise any of my personal information, as it has nothing to do with what happened. I'm a freshman who recently started taking web design. With skills I obtained beforehand, I was able to make myself kind of popular on the Roblox website by designing t-shirts for avatars. And they were so good a few YouTubers had even worn them for a few videos. It wasn't anything too significant as my main hobby was exploiting. I would go from game to game trolling gullible 9-year-olds with my friends who also bypassed the game's admin filters. And no, I'm not going to apologize for this. It was purely for satire. Nothing to get me ahead in any games. A few particular games my friends and I liked to mess around on was Prison Life and Mad Paintball 2, as those were fairly easy to cheat on. Saturday was always a good time to hop on and wreak havoc on salty players. We'd fly through walls and use an automated aimbot to destroy anyone near us. The particular client we were using, the name isn't necessary, would hide our usernames on every other player's menu screen so they couldn't report us. Yes, that's a possible thing to accomplish, but it isn't perfect. I've had my fair share of bans, and I believe everything bad started on my 6th account. It all began like any other Saturday. Mom goes to the grocery store, I'm free to make myself toast and watch TV and play video games. The usual. My friends weren't online when I logged in, but I was too impatient. You see, the client I would be using updated once a week, introducing a fun-filled exploit. The new particular one would cause my avatar to explode if I died, killing anyone near me. Sadly, it only worked in Prison Life. But that was no matter because it's basically where the craziest players roam, just waiting to find an excuse to rage quit. I opened up my client and purchased a new hack. Most of the exploits are premium and like $30. Crazy, right? Followed by hopping onto Prison Life. That's when the fun began. I would stride foolishly into the police's spawn area and get shot, followed by an explosion which killed everyone else. I was met with insults and laughing emojis in the chat. I loved the people who wouldn't take me seriously. All was well until a fellow prisoner waltzed up to me. They possessed that classical elongated smile with upright oval eyes. Their skin tone was an ugly shade of brown, and they had long blonde hair that went straight up through their deflated head. I turned around in acknowledgement as the stranger typed to me, "Hey, can you please stop? You're making me really sad." I wasn't sure whether to take LilySunBear123 seriously with all those stupid emojis. And yes, that was her username. So I replied with proper grammar and punctuation and sarcasm. "Sweetie, when you're depressed as I am, you really ought to dispose of those emojis if you actually want me to care," followed by swiftly resetting my character and causing an explosion. I honestly thought this gag would be perfectly timed if it wasn't for the fact that this LilySunBear123 character was still in one piece and standing. Right before I respond, I could see another word bubble materialize above her malformed head saying, "I'll make you regret departing from your mother's womb." That's when my dismembered avatar was teleported back into the prisoner spawn. I was certainly taken aback by this abrupt response, and went back to confront the mysterious player, but she was nowhere to be found. She clearly left the game. Satisfied with my response to my prank, despite the exploit turning out to be a bit buggy, I continued my weekly trolling and nothing unusual happened within the span of another week. That was until yet another Saturday morning, I discovered LilySunBear123 had sent me a friend request. Out of curiosity, I accepted it, and almost immediately I received a private message from her, which read in pure cringe-worthiness, "Hi, username. Sorry for being mean, I get mad easily, but I want to be friends, please." I honestly would have taken a screenshot to show how utterly ridiculous the message was, but I didn't think anything of it at the time. Anyways, I replied as I usually would to someone with grammar from the depths of the underworld. "This is a joke, right? What you talking about?" She responded with one too many question marks. I honestly couldn't help but feel a bit bad for her at first. I thought she must have been around 5. "Listen, I'm not really here to make friends right now. I'm busy, you know. There are plenty of other players you can hang out with, though." Her response was unexpected, to say the least. "You hate me, don't deny it." I paused in alarm, but before I could reply, LilySunBear123 sent another message. This one more chilling than the last. "I understand, username. You want to die alone, and guess what? I'm already dead." I tried messaging her after, but then I discovered she had unfriended me, so I hastily searched up her username and clicked on her profile page. She was offline, but before she logged off, LilySunBear123 left a message that made my heart stop. "Username, if you don't leave this game within a week, I'll make sure you succumb to my..." The words were in a big jagged font which made the message too long to fully appear on the screen, and I didn't dare to find out what the rest read. But when I thought about it, there was nothing to be scared of. The player was trying to scare me, and that's it. I could do the exact same thing if I was quirky in that way. All was well, but little did I know. LilySunBear123 wasn't finished with me yet. Looking back, I probably should have taken her threat more seriously. But I let a week pass by, still playing Roblox anyways. I'm sure you probably have had that feeling where you tell yourself you're not afraid, but deep down, you know something is wrong. Still, everyone doesn't want to show that fear is in control of them, and most of the time, it works. Unless reality has a way of telling you the truth. When the beginning of a new week arose, I had completely forgotten about LilySunBear123. That was until I discovered she had sent me yet another friend request shortly after I got on. Upon accepting it, I was met with a third message from the mysterious player. "Username, why are you still here?" "Because I can. Duh," I typed in annoyance. "Underestimating me will only bring you more pain," LilySunBear123 replied with a hint of hatred. My ego was starting to show signs of breaking in fear, but I wasn't going to show her that. "What are you going to do, sissy? Hack my computer?" "I forgave you, username. I also gave you another chance, but you still treat me like you're the big bully, and I'm the hopeless individual. But little do you know, I've already done it." "Done what?" I asked. All of a sudden, a pop-up appeared on my screen. I was met with the loading screen for a game match I swear I didn't click on. Before I could process what was happening, I was teleported into a dark hallway. I could barely see past a few feet. I tried clicking off the game in annoyance, but the exit button wouldn't respond. That's when I made the guess that this was all her doing. Taking shallow steps in game, I gulped down the last of my fear, and proceeded to continue moving forward, determined to figure out what was going on. The more I walked, the more lights would appear above, fluorescent ones that were embedded with the tan ceiling. As I moved on, I couldn't erase that feeling that I was being watched. I knew she was here, but there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing I wanted to do. It was as if the aforementioned feeling had taken flight. I knew something was horribly wrong, but I didn't want to show I was afraid. I could hear the eerie echoes of my avatar's footsteps. My index finger ached as I pressed the W button on my keyboard, harder and harder. It felt as if the hallways would never end. All of a sudden, a player teleported in front of me. LilySunBear123. Her arm craned upward to present a long, twisted sword that resembled an ancient khopesh. I honestly didn't know what to do at this point, but let her strike me down with a single swipe across my torso. Rather, my avatars. I watched as she stood over my dismembered character. Then she said, "I know what you're thinking, username. You think you're safe." No, I'm not too sure what to think. As I typed this, I still possessed doubt. When I lifted my shirt to reveal a small gash on my chest, it all seemed to add up. I looked back at my screen in horror, and saw that I was kicked from the game, and the reason that was displayed was, "I'm not finished with you yet." And then I saw my name, my birth name. I really hope the wound I received was just some coincidence. It hurts my head like heck to try and rationalize everything. I reported the account, but I'm not sure what that'll do. Even if Lily Sunbearer does get banned, that doesn't mean she can't harm me. Before I start the story, my name's Hannah. I'm a 15-year-old girl who only liked Roblox, because I started playing it when I didn't even know how to read. You know, a skill you're required to have when you play a lot of games on Roblox. Anyways, I have a little sister named Annie. We were both part of a Mexican family. I was 8 and she was 4 at the time of the story. Annie had an imaginary friend, which always creeped me out. My 80-year-old grandma told me it was pretty common nowadays, and said she would stop talking to dead air when she grew older. Even if it made me uncomfortable, I didn't want my sister to know that. I wanted her to have the happiest childhood that nobody has ever had before. I should have told her that I was uncomfortable. Then this would have never happened. Anyways, it was October of 2012, and I was laying on the floor, drawing, while my sister was sitting on her bed playing Roblox. We shared a bedroom at the time, and my sister always tried to be friendly with me. She said, "I really like your drawing, Hannah." "Thanks," I replied. My parents always told me to be polite to the people who compliment you. So I asked, "Are you having fun playing Roblox?" Her reply was unexpected. "Yeah, I'm playing with Nina." Nina was the name of Annie's imaginary friend. I just said, "Oh, nice." I was a little off guard after she said that, but I still tried to have a polite conversation with Annie. "Are you planning to get tons of candy for Halloween?" Her next answer really scared me. "Yeah, me and Nina are really excited to fill our candy buckets, even if Nina can't eat anything." I was confused. Annie said Nina was human, but if she's human, why couldn't she eat anything? It slightly made me feel bad for someone that didn't exist, but I came to the conclusion that Annie is aware that Nina isn't real, but she just doesn't want to believe she's not. "Hannah, Annie, time for dinner," my mom called us. "Don't forget Nina," Annie yelled. We walked downstairs to hear our mom sigh and say, "Don't forget Nina." We sat down and ate our dinner, which was delicious not to mention. After 10 minutes I finished and was excused from the table. I went upstairs to our room to play Roblox on my laptop. I sat on my bed, opened my laptop, and typed in the password. I opened the Roblox app to find I had a pending friend request. I checked the user who wanted to friend me. Their username was just Nina. I felt a shiver go down my spine. First, Roblox wouldn't allow you to make your username your real name. Second, the account was made in 2008, when Annie was born. Why wouldn't that username be taken by then? I declined it, but then they sent another friend request. I declined it again, but they sent another friend request. I kept declining and they kept requesting. I got really annoyed and blocked them. I played Murder Mystery for 10 minutes until I heard the audio that plays when you receive a message. I checked my Roblox homepage to find a message from that Nina user. The message read, "Hi Hannah, do you want to play Meep City with Annie and me?" I replied, "How did you get on my friends list?" We're friends in real life, Hannah. That makes us friends in Roblox. The way she ended her sentence with a smiley face freaked me out. I thought it was my big cousin Jackson trying to mess with me, as he was the only other kid in my entire family that I told how uncomfortable Annie's pretend friend made me. Come on, Jackson, stop playing with me. Jackson plays Roblox now? I hope we can play with him. That reminded me. Jackson's parents were strict and completely shuttered his connection with video games. They wanted him to stay close to family rather than stay close to video games. So I thought Jackson told my other cousins. Are you Jana? Lena? Ella? She typed back. What are you talking about? I'm Nina. Don't you remember? You're not fooling me. I reopened Roblox to see I wasn't in the murder mystery lobby anymore. I was in the Meep City lobby. Annie was standing in front of me saying, Come on, Hannah. Let's go to my house. And yes, she did overuse the N key on the word on. I just acted casual and said, Yeah, okay. I followed her to the neighborhood. We went into her house to see Nina sitting on the couch. Sis, why is she here? I said, Don't be rude, Hannah, that's not nice. I'll tell Mom if you bully her. I sighed, embarrassed that she used the I'm telling Mom threat. I tried leaving the game, but the game just resumed and I saw Nina say, Why are you trying to leave? My stomach dropped. How did she know I was going to leave the game? Just as I thought about it, my mom shouted, Hannah, Annie, it's 9 o'clock. Get off those computers and go to bed. Then, in the game, Annie said, We have to go to bed, Nina. Then Nina replied, Oh, okay. We'll play tomorrow. I immediately closed the Roblox window successfully. I fell asleep at 11:15 after laying in bed for 2 hours, unable to sleep. 2 weeks later, it was Halloween night and me and my sister were ecstatic, not only because our parents would allow us to collect teeth-rotting rocks, but we got to scare people with the fantastic costumes my mom made. My mom works at a clothing store, so she had many ideas for an outfit. I was a devil, Annie was a fox. My mom gave us the candy buckets that we bought at the grocery store, and we were off. Now, this wouldn't be Halloween without you being tricked or getting scared to your grave. Annie said, Don't you like Nina's ghost costume? She looks like a real ghost, I think. She caught me off guard, but I tried to keep my cool, so I said, Yeah, I'm pretty wicked. She didn't mention Nina until the end of our candy heist. Both of our buckets were full to the brim. I was proud of us. It was pretty impressive to get that much candy back then in our neighborhood, especially since most of the people who lived there were old couples that didn't give out candy. Then Annie said, I don't think Nina got as much candy as we did. Oh no. Then what happened next made me think I would lose my sister forever. Usually on Halloween nights, we came back at 8, but there was a catch that night. Huh? Annie said. What is it? I asked. Nina says she wants to show us something. I thought she would show us something Annie already knew about, but I was wrong. Annie started walking into the forest, a place our parents strictly told us to stay away from. Annie, we shouldn't go there, I said. Be quiet, Hannah, this is important. I just followed. Annie walked for 30 seconds until she started running. Now, Annie was much faster than me, so I couldn't keep up. Annie, slow down. I was worried she would trip and hurt herself, but chance chose me. Instead, I was the one who would trip, fall, and get hurt. I fell face first into the dirt and laid there. Everything hurt and I couldn't get up. I stayed there for about half an hour thinking about Annie. Then I heard voices. There's Hannah, one voice said. Who's there? I said, trying to get up. Hannah, another voice said. I recognized this voice immediately. It was my mom. She ran up to me and hugged me. I hugged back. "What's going on?" I asked. Looking around, I noticed the other voices were police officers. They had flashlights and backpacks. One policeman took his radio and said, "We found one. The other one is still missing." My mom said, "You didn't come home and we got worried. We called the police telling them you were missing." Now, what happened? Then I remembered. "Annie." "What about Annie?" one female cop said. "She ran into the forest and I tripped and fell." "We have to keep looking for her then," another cop said. "Let's go." My mom helped me up and I helped them search for Annie. We walked forward, calling Annie's name and pointing our flashlights at things. After 10 minutes we came to a small hill and found Annie sitting up against a tree. We were relieved to see her, but there was something else with her. A corpse. The corpse looked exactly like Nina's Roblox avatar. Then one of the police officers took out a clipboard and flipped through a bunch of papers. The papers were what appeared to be missing child posters. After he flipped through 14 papers, then he came to a stop. The paper had a picture of a child that looked like the dead body, and the name on the paper was Nina Fester. To protect my privacy, I've decided to keep my name anonymous. I'm a regular Roblox user, scouting over the game page to find one that catches my eye. Although I have a hard time since usually there are none that interest me anymore, like they did in the past. What had happened to me started with a rumor by... They narrated what a suspicious user called Kampfin roamed the Roblox servers at random times ranging from 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. He would friend random users he encountered and ask them to join his game, and would develop into a rage the more time the friended user spent on other activities on Roblox. If the user did visit Kampfin's place, then their site would usually be a red house far away from their spawn location. It was said that the users would feel forced to enter the house, and upon doing so, the house would catch on fire, leading the user's character being deleted, and their account would suddenly vanish. In rare circumstances, Kampfin's place would consist of something different, sometimes even related to an unusual topic he would sometimes discuss about to the user, if they were to say something to him in the website chat. Some accounts describe the randomly generated features of his place to be quite disturbing, and somewhat even related to the users themselves. I didn't believe this because I depended on my common sense to what was said, that all myths and rumors are fake. I got home after a long and boring Friday at school and logged on to Roblox. I was relieved to have reached the weekend. I decided to play Death Run as it was one of my longtime favorite games. However, as soon as I clicked the play button, I saw in the corner of my eye that I had a friend request. I usually ignored these as many of these kids are trying to get attention and look cool by having a lot of friends, by randomly sending a request and never doing anything with you once you accept it. The gray screen on the Roblox client vanished, and my character appeared in the lobby. I played for some good few minutes until I got bored and quit the game. I decided to go to the friend page and typically ignored the person's request. As soon as my browser loaded, I couldn't believe who sent it. The user was Kampfin. I ignored it in a panic because I didn't want to suffer the consequences of the previous users that were foolish enough to accept it. To my surprise, the ignore button didn't work. I repeatedly clicked on it, but to no avail. It still didn't work. I just decided to leave it in the end. Eventually, after about 3 hours, the request icon turned into red. I was confused since this, of course, didn't happen before, but I shook it off as a Roblox update. All of a sudden, I got an urge to accept it, and so I did. His user appeared in the chat box and he messaged me later. His username appeared in the chat box, and he messaged me immediately with the typical dialogue of a regular Roblox user. "Hi. Who are you? I just want a friend." I I don't play with unknown users. Leave me alone, you creep. Please. I grew tired instantly of chatting with him and went to play some games. After about another hour of place jumping, I came back to see this. Come to my place, idiot. I will make you vanish. Now. I ignored him. He was talking like an obnoxious 5-year-old. I logged off of Roblox for the day. When I woke up the next morning, I logged back on and saw that Kampfin's chat box was red. This, I also had never seen before. How could a user's chat box turn red? I got disturbed, and I grew more cautious while playing Roblox games. Eventually, my curiosity had forced me into joining this disgusting creature of a user's game. His game was titled, For User. And just looking at it, it gave me goosebumps on my arm. It had no description. I joined the game and my character spawned on a gray path with white fog surrounding it. I did what any gamer would do and followed the path. On the grass, there were lots of white pillars surrounding my character. What had been annoying me as soon as I joined was that there was some sort of deep whispering, or a breathing noise that would loop every time it played. As I walked on, the pillars started to get more and more distorted, cracked, and broken. There was a message in black text on the ground, to which this day I still don't know what it means. I kept going on until I came across some more red text, but this time it was in Morse code, which I was unable to translate since I have never studied it before, only heard of it. I looked up and saw the rather disturbing feature that the previous users had accounted. There were multiple wooden pikes that stuck out of the ground, and my character was impaled on them. I was disgusted and horrified, even though it was just virtual. I immediately went to the X button on the client, but it didn't work, nor did Alt F4, or even Task Manager. I tried to turn off my computer, and even that didn't work. The only deciphered option left was to completely unplug my computer, and it finally shut off. I breathed a sigh of relief and sat down in my chair. Luckily, I had an old laptop that also had Roblox on it, so I grabbed it and logged on. My account had vanished, which meant that the rumor was actually true. I logged onto the alt and searched up Kampfin again, but he had also vanished. I was confused and scared, so I decided to contact Roblox support in efforts to recover my account. A few days later, they had returned the email and I got my main account back, so I logged into it and Kampfin had been removed from my friends list. It was a relief to have finally gotten the situation over with. I saw in the tab I got a message, and it was from Kampfin. There was only half of my mind telling me to view it, and the other telling the opposite. I decided to view it, and the message said, "I'm coming for you." I brushed it off, since you can't find a Roblox user's address just by looking through their account. Anyways, I played some more Roblox games, and nothing's happened for a few days now. I made it clear that Kampfin doesn't like attention, or even being mentioned. But the reason I'm writing this is because I want to tell you that Kampfin is real. I just heard something outside. I'll be right back.